Good morning and welcome to another beginning piano lesson. As I've mentioned before, this is a work in progress. This remote teaching and remote learning is very challenging, and one of the things that I realized that when I went through this book years ago, we numbered the fingering on each note so that you would know which finger to use. And in the beginning, that's really important, but even later on it's more important because when you start moving up and down the keyboard, where your particular finger goes makes it easier to play. And so I'm going to go back, we're going to go back to page 20, and if you look at the bottom of the page there, playing on the grand staff, they give you on the treble clef, they give you the first number. Now, the first finger number, which is C, and that is finger number 1. And so what I want you to do on the treble clef, you put the number of the fingering right above each note. And in the bass clef, it goes below. And then later, when we get into chords, if you have notes that are stacked for a chord, you'll put it alongside the note, and either in the bass clef or the treble clef. But for individual notes, we'll have an individual finger number for each one. So starting with C, and I'm going to go over the letter name as well so that you're getting that as well as the fingering. So I want you to write above now on page 20, you've got the C, which is finger number 1, and then D, which is 2. So you're going to write 2 above that, above D, 3 above E, 4 above F. Then in the second measure, you've got G 3 times, right? G, G, and G. And then in the third measure, you're going to write 5, 4, 3, 2. That's G for the 5, F for 4, E for 3, D for 2, and then in the next measure, 1s for the Cs. 1, 1, and 1. And then down in the bass clef, you're writing below the note. The C is 5, the D is 4, the E is 3, the F is 2, and the G is 5. I'm sorry, is 1. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. And then in the third measure, 5 for G, 4 for F, 3 for E, 2 for D, and then C. Okay, so we're going to number these pieces along the way as we go. So I've got a little catching up to do, and it may be a little tedious, but you'll be glad that you have it. So going to the next page, 21, rock along. So in the treble clef, you've got C for 1, another 1, and 3 for E, G for 5, 3, 5, 1, 1, and 1. Now in the bass clef, you're 5, 5, 3, 1, which they've already given you, and then 3, 1, 5, 5, and 5. Okay, so going down to the Mexican Hass dance, we start with the bass clef. So they give you 1, 3, and so it's just a repeat. G is 1, E is 3, and then D is 4, E is 3, F is 2, and then D is 4, 3 is E, 5 is C. So going to the treble clef, now you're writing above again. So G is 5, E is 3, G is 5, E is 3, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, D is 2, and C is 1, right? So moving along to lightly row on page 23, they give you the first one in the treble clef, which is a 5 written above the G, and then you have 3 for C, or excuse me, 3 for E, 3 for E, F is 4 in the second measure, D is 2, D is 2, third measure, C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, 5, and 5. Going to the bass clef, you've got the 1 for G, E for 3, E for 3, F is 2, D is 4, D is 4, C is 5, E is 3, G is 1, 1, and then C is 5. Okay, Aunt Rhody, in the treble clef, they give you the 3, which is E. So E is 3, D is 2, C is 1, C is 1. In the third measure, D is 2, 2, F is 4, E is 3, D is 2, C is 1. In the bass clef, they give you the 1, which is G. So the next one is G also. 2 for F, 3 for E, 3 for E, 3 for E, 4 is D, 5 is C, 4 is D, 3 is E, 5 is C. So moving on to page 24, you've got your melodic intervals, so that's individual notes. So they have the first 4 already written for you, which is 1, 2, C, D, C, D, and then 1, 3, which is C, E. So you can write in the second measure 1, 2, 1, 3. And then in the bass clef, 1, 2, 1, 3, right? So that's G, F, and G, E. So 1, 2, 1, 3. So in the Clair de Lune, starting with the bass, starting with the treble clef, the first measure, C is 1, 1, 1, D is 2. Second measure, 3, we're talking fingers, right? Third finger is E, 2 is D, C is 1, E is 3, D is 2, D is 2, and C is 1. So on a tasket, this is all bass clef. So you're starting with a G, which is your 1 finger, and then your E is 3, F is 2, G is 1, E is 3, F is 2, G is 1, G is 1, E is 3, 2, 1, 3. And then on the next line, F is 2, 2, 2, and the D is 4. F is 2, 2, 2, D D is 4, G is 1, F is 2, E is 3, D is 4, and G is 5. So let's go on to now, those were melodic intervals because they're played individually, but when you play them together, they're harmonic intervals. So you've got 1 and 2, C and D, 1 and 3, C and E, C, 1, 2, 1, 3. And then the same with the bass clef, it's 1, 2, 1, 3. So G, F, G, E. So going with rockin' intervals, your F is 4 on the treble clef, so the first one they've got listed, so that's 4. And then E's are 3 and 3. Your D is 2. Got a rest, D is 2. And then in your bass clef, G and F, G and E. So that's 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So the next line in the treble clef, E is 3, they've got that. So you're going to, the next note is a D, which is 2, D is 2, C is 1, rest, C is 1, and then G and E on the bass clef, they got that written for you, and then that's G and E, G and F is the next one, so you write 1 and 2 here for G and F, 1 and 3 for G and E, and G and E, 1 and 3. So now the next one we're dealing with G, C, D, C, E, C, D, C, E in the bass clef, but it's 4 and 5, 3 and 5, or 5 and 3, however you look at it. So you read it top to bottom, bottom to top, it doesn't matter. But there's, in the treble clef, you've got 4 and 5, which is F and G, and then you have G and E, or E and G, and then down here in the bass clef, G and F, G and E. So harmonic rock, you've got 1 and 2, and you can see they're writing it right alongside there. So in the treble clef, C and D is 1 and 2, C and E is 1 and 3. So in the second measure, you'll write 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Then in your bass clef, 4 and 5, they've got, so that's C and D, C and E. So in your last measure there, 4 and 5, 4 and 5, 5 and 3, or 3 and 5, however you're doing it. So they give you the first two, 4 and 5, 3 and 5. So you're going to write 4 and 5, 4 and 5, 3 and 5, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, which is G and F, and then 1 and 3, 1 and 3, which is G and E, okay? So now, your melodic fourths and fifths, they have it written in there on the first measure, 1-4, which is C, F, and C, G. So you can write 1-4 in the second measure, 1-5 in the next two. And then in the bass clef, they give you G, D, G, C. So that's 1-4, 1-5. So in your next measure, that's what you got, 1-4, 1-5. So in the Good King, Your F, they give you the 4. That's your 4th finger, so you're starting 4, and then 4, 4, 5 for the G, and then the next measure, 4, 4, 1 for the C, and then D is 2, C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, F is 4. And in the bass clef, the F is 2, they give you that, so F is 2, 2, and then G is 1. Next measure, F is 2, F is 2, C is 5. Then the next measure, D is 4, C is 5, D is 4, E is 3, D is, F is 2, F is 2. So in my 5th, the next one, they give you the 1 for the C, so the next one is 1 for C, 1 for C, 5 for G, 4 for F, 3 for E, E, 3, 3 for E, and 2 for D. In the bass clef, 5 for C, 5 for C, 5 for C, 1 for G, 2 for F, and then in the next measure, after the rest, you have E3, 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 and C5. So going on, I know this is a little tedious, but this is really important, and we'll be doing this as we go, and there won't be so much at a time, but I'm just trying to catch up here to make sure that when you have the finger numbers there, it's just so much easier to learn a piece. So that's why I'm taking the time now. So here again, we have 1 and 4, 1 and 5. So write 1, 4, 1, 5 in the second measure. And in the bass clef, you got 1, 4, 1, 5, which is G, D, G, C. So 1, 4, 1, 5. So I'll just do, on Jingle Bells, we'll go across the top to make it easier. So we'll start with the treble clef, doing all 4 measures. So we start with the E, right? That's 3, 3, 3. In second measure, 3, 3, 3 for E. And then the third measure, 3, 5 for G, 1 for C, 2 for D, and 3 for E. So going to the bass clef in that top line, you've got 5 and 1. You have C, G. And so the next 3 measures are the same. 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. Okay? So doing the treble clef in the next line, we have F, which is 4, 4, 4, 4. And then in the second measure, 4, 3 for E, 3, 3, 3 for E in the third measure, D for 2, 2, 3, and then in the fourth measure, 2, 5, D, G, okay? So in the bass clef, now we have a D, G in the first measure, and then you have a C, G. And then in the third measure, you have a D, which is 4 finger, and then G, which is your 1 finger in the last measure. So in the third line, it's starting with the treble clef. You start with a 3, which is E, so 3, 3. Second measure, 3, 3, 3. Third measure, 3 is E, 5 is G, C is 1, D is 2, and C is 3. And in the bass clef, 5 and 1, C and G, C and G, 5 and 1, 5 and 1, 5 and 1, 5 and 1. So in the last line, in the treble clef, F is 4, 4, 4, 4. Second measure, 4 for F. E is 3, 3, 3. G is 5, 5. F is 4. D is 2. And C is 1 in the last measure. And then D and G, so that's 4 and 1. C and G, 5 and 1. 4 and 1. 1. And in the last measure, C and G. Okay? So, going over to page 31, they give you C and F, C and G. So 4, 1, 5 and 1. And then in the base they give you C and F, C and G. So 5, 2, 5, 1. So they've got that written for you. So when you go down below to dueling harmonics, 5, you've got CE, which is 1 and 3, and then 1 and 4 for C and F, and then C and E, which is 1 and 3. So going across to the third measure in the treble clef, so you have C and F, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 3. And then you've written above there, hopefully, you know, your thirds and your fourths and which is which. So going to the bass clef in that, you have 5 and 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 3, and then in the last measure, you have 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3. So in the last line, treble clef, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 3, and then in the bass, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, treble clef, 5, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 1, fourths and fifths, and then in the bass clef, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, whoops, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 4, 1 and 5. So on page 32 now we're dealing with chords and your C chord, C major chord. So going on to page 33, I want to continue with, now here's where you see the stacked, in Brother John, in the bass clef, you have your C major chord with C, E, G, 5, 3, 1 in your bass clef. And so when it's stacked like that, you'll put the numbering alongside. So beginning either from the top or the bottom, however you do it, it's 5, 3, 1 or 1, 3, 5. So, right? C, E, G. And then in the treble clef, you're starting with C, which is 1, D is 2, E is 3, C is 1. And then the second measure, C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, C is 1. And then in the third measure, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, and the last measure, 3 is E, F is 4, G is 5. And all along that first line, the bass clef is C, E, G, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. Now on the treble clef in the next line, we have G, which is 5, F, which is 4, E is 3, and 1 is C. So obviously we're in the treble clef. G is 5, F is 4, E is 3, C is 1. And then finally the last two measures, C is 1, 1, C is 1, C is 1. And then in the bass clef, C, E, G, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. Third measure, 1 is G, 1 is G. And then here's a happy song. In the bass clef they start. So you're beginning with G, which is finger number 1. So G is 1, F is 2, E is 3, D is 4, E is 3, F is 2, G is 1. And then right there at the treble clef, you've got your 5, 3, 1, C, E, G, and then back down to the bass clef, F is 2, E is 3, D is 4, E is 3, F is 2. And then you have your F, G. Okay, so that's 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. And then your last, in the bass clef, you're starting with G, which is 1, F is 2, E is 3, F is 4, or excuse me, D is 4. Let me do that again, starting with the very first measure there. G is 1, F is 2, E is 3, D is 4, E is 3, D is 4, E is 3, F is 2, 1 is G, F is 2, E is 3, D is 4, C is 5, and then C, E, G, C, E, G is your last one. So let's go over to, now we're changing, you have your C chord, which is C, E, G. Now your little finger, now because we're dealing with a bass clef, goes to B, and your second finger goes to F. So it's C, E, G, B, F, G. So your C major and your G7 chord. So we're going to go to 35. I want to continue the fingering here. So beginning, let's go across for the first 4 measures on the treble clef. So you've got E is 3, D is 2, C is 1, D is 2, C is, E is 3, E is 3, E is 3, D is 2, 2, 2, E is 3, G is 5, and G is 5. And then the bass clef is, you're holding 5, 3, 1, and in the second measure you're just holding it, but it's still 5, 3, 1. And then in the third measure, you're dealing with your G7, so it's B, F, G. So writing right alongside, B, F, G. And then the last measure, C, E, G, C chord. So in the next line, you've got E is 3, D is 2, C is 1, D is 2, 3 is C, 3, 3, and then D is 2, D is 2, 3, 2, and C is 1. And then so you got your C chord, you got your G7 chord, and then your C chord. And then the last one down here is Largo. So C, or, okay. 3 is E, 5 is G, 5 is G, 3 is E, 2 is D, C is 1, 2 is D, 3 is E, G is 5, 3 is E, 2 is D. You've got C chord, G7 chord. So 5, 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 5, 3, 1. And then in the last line, E is 3, G is 5, G is 5, E is 3, D is 2, C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, D is 2, C is 1, C is 1. So C chord, 5, 3, 1, and then 5, 2, 1. B, F, G, C, E, G. Okay. So, so Marianne, hopefully we can get this in here. So I'm going to go from bass clef to the treble clef as we go. So you're starting with your bass clef. Your E is 3, and your G is 1, C is 5, E is 3, 4 for D, 2 for F, 2 for F, and then up above you have your B, F, G, 1, 4, 5, right? 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. Second line, D is 4, F is 2, F is 2, B is 5, D is 4, D is 4, 5 for C, E is 3, E is 3, and in the treble clef you've got C, E, G, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. And then the next line, E is 3, E is 3, G is 1, G is 1, C is 5, E is 3, E is 3, E is 3, D is 4, 2 is F, 2 is F, and then your G7, which is B, F, G, 5, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1. And then the last line, D is 4, F is 2, F is 2, B is 5, D is 4, 4, C is 5, C is 5, C is 5, and then you end up with your C chord, C, E, G, C, E, G. So I think we're going to stop there because so anyway, a little tedious, but from now on we'll do that as we go, and it won't be so tedious. So thank you very much.